Om Shri Sai Ram. Let me at the outset offer my humble pranams at the divine lotus feet of our beloved Baba. My humble Sai Rams are also offered to our revered and respected elders, to our sisters and brothers, and to all the wonderful children of the loving Sai family. It is a joy for me to once again welcome all of you to yet another divine offering of Saicast. It's my privilege to place before all of you today the divine message of Baba, which is titled, Never Judge Anyone and Never Pass Judgments. In this divine message, Baba instructs that you should not easily judge anyone and then pass your judgments. This is not only a bad habit, but it is also not a sensible thing to do. Baba gives us the example of an iceberg floating in the ocean and goes on to say that only 10% of the iceberg is seen by you and 90% of the iceberg is below the water. How can you give a judgment about the iceberg after seeing just 10% of it? You cannot. Similar is the case with the world of humans. Any incident or accident or anything which happens in the outside world will give you hardly 10% of the facts. You cannot reach the truth by knowing just the 10%. You have therefore to find out the balance 90% of the facts to get to the actual truth. Baba says, what is happening in the outside world equally applies to the spiritual world too. When you do your sadhana, you are starting with barely 10% of knowledge. You have to struggle and work very hard to gather the truth about the balance 90%. Only thereafter you get to know the complete truth about life, God, and everything else. Baba also mentions that after reaching this stage, you cannot open your mouth, as your mind itself will get dissolved and you will rest in the noble silence of God. Surrender yourself fully to God and seek only His divine love and wisdom. This will help you to be in His divine company always. Let us now listen to the divine message as dictated by our beloved Baba. Om Shri Sai Ram. Never judge anyone and never pass judgments. When you see a huge iceberg floating in the big oceans, you are enamored by its size. That is half the truth, because actually only 10% of the iceberg is seen. The balance 90% lies hidden under the surface of the ocean where the iceberg is floating. The fact of the matter is, you cannot understand the truth about the iceberg by merely looking at 10% of the iceberg. Similar is the case with your human world. You cannot gauge the whole truth about all the occurrences, incidents, accidents, or anything and everything that happen in the world by just looking at it with your limited perceptions and inadequate abilities. This is because the visible truth is just 10% and the unseen or unknown facts are 90%. Humans look at the visible 10% and pass their judgments about anything and everything. They are wrong in doing that, and this habit should firstly be stopped by everyone and more so by my devotees. Most of these judgments are based on the 10% of observed available information. This will never give the correct picture or the facts about anything and everything which is pertaining to the world in which you live. This is the reason why Swami repeatedly says, never judge anyone and do not pass judgments based only on your very limited knowledge. Even after knowing the whole truth also, you should not open your mouth unless it is extremely necessary. This principle applies equally to all aspects of life and living. What you see outside in any field of study is like the iceberg. It is just the bare minimum information or inputs that you have. What about the balance 90% of the truth? This 90% of the truth lies hidden underneath. It is therefore the bounden duty of everyone to find out what is the balance 90% of the facts and then get to know the whole truth. Only in this manner you can do a proper study in any field. What applies in the outside world also applies to the inside world of the spirit. What applies to ordinary human mortals living a life in the world of Maya equally applies to a sadhaka on the spiritual world and in the spiritual path. What you perceive as the truth initially is barely 10%. It is a duty of the sadhaka to unravel the balance 90% which lies hidden within himself or herself. It will take a Himalayan effort on your part to unravel this balance 90% of the truth of life. It is only after putting in this hard work that you will get to know the mystery of God, the silent, inscrutable power of God, and how He operates this entire universe. After reaching this particular point of your spiritual journey, a true sadhaka cannot open his or her mouth. Their minds get dissolved and they rest in noble silence, which is the spiritual silence of the supreme entity called God or the universal consciousness. It is only in this manner, after unraveling the whole truth, that you can conceive how mighty and magnanimous is the power of God. God runs this entire show only through His divine weapon, that is, the divine love energy. As you proceed on this spiritual path, you must surrender fully to this divine power and pray and seek only divine love and divine wisdom. This will help you to understand God and be in His divine company always. After you have reached this far, it is your bounden duty to share this spiritual knowledge which you have been blessed with the outside world. With love supreme, your Baba. Jai Sai Ram.